Howdy, howdy, everybody, and welcome to Don't Toy With Me. I happened to see this game right after I finished my stream earlier today of Danganronpa. Go check it out if you haven't already. The VOD's up on my YouTube channel. But, yeah, I saw this, and I was like, that's interesting. I looked into it, and it seems like it's a really cool game that I feel like I'd really enjoy. So without further ado, let's start. Light spills through the tiny windows of the dollhouse, catching the flecks of dust in the air. Though it's early in the morning, the inhabitants have been awake for a little while now. It has to be expected that toys wouldn't have quite the same grasp on time as you do. Whiskers, you've hardly touched your tea. Her, least of all. She's an antique. You could at least pretend to drink it since I went to the trouble of making it. The stuffed rabbit sits at the table, a frown on its embroidered face. It turns its head away from the cup in defiance. Gee, you're so moody lately. I know it's not terribly fun to be stuck alone here with me, but you're not doing yourself any favors by being difficult. Don't you think we should be making the best of it? ... I really wish you'd let me cut a mouth on you so you could try and hold a conversation. The rabbit scurries off the wooden floor down the stairs. Delilah sighs. It was only a suggestion. I'm not going to force you. I suppose it's another cup down the drain, then. Delilah gathers up the teacup and saucer from the floor to take down to the kitchen. Though Whiskers has been in the house for a while with her now, he's always been terribly skittish. The kitchen holds the rest of the tea set, always ready for a hypothetical tea party that thus far hadn't come to fruition. The rabbit was about to sit at the table with her. Thinking back on it, she's had trouble recalling who it was that used to sit there with her. You're listening right now, aren't you? I'm fairly certain I can hear you out there. Tap. The sound of large fingers gently tapping nails on the outside of the house answers her question. She smiles softly. There you are. Maybe you could join me. I'm not sure how you'd fit in here with me, but I'd welcome you anyways. Perhaps you could let me outside. I'd sit on the roof to be closer to you. You know better than to give her her way on that. The cracks in her face tell the story of a previous excursion outside of the house. She is met with silence. Her smile holds patiently for all of 10 seconds. Aww. Fine, then I won't be entertaining you either. Ooh, her eyes got dark. If the urge to be reasonable finds you, I'll be reading in my room. She storms off the kitchen and up the stairs. You decide to give her some time to cool off while you leave to run an errand. You have a feeling she'll lighten up when you retrieve your new purchase. The dollhouse is a little bit cleaner than it was this morning. Delilah spent some time dusting and picking up. She prefers her home spotless, or at least she used to. Now it seems she settles for clean enough, and she never bothers with the attic anymore. Honestly, I don't know much about this game. I just saw how the story looked and how the, gameplay itself went. I liked what I saw, so we're here. She idly straightens the decorations atop her wardrobe in her room. A heavy thump quickly undoes this. What? She turns, looking around in surprise. Hesitantly, she peers out her bedroom door and down the stairs. Whiskers is already in the foyer, investigating. What is it? I closed my door. Also, is the music too loud for anybody? Hope not. Oop. I don't have a drink. Great. I'm gonna be doing a lot of reading. I'm gonna need a drink. Alright, I'm back. my cord! Go away. Okay. Okay, I'm good. Jeez. Now, you think I'd be able to set this up right, but no. Sorry, I love this music though, it is really nice. So I'm having to make sure everything's working right on my end. I've been having a few issues with my stuff. So I tried setting up the stream earlier, but it wasn't working right. So now I'm trying to set it up to make sure it's working right now. Alright, I think we're good. Pull that back up, pull this back up. She sits downstairs, deftly joints clicking with each step. She finds a large box taking up the entryway. Oh my, a present? Her eyes light up with interest, running her fingers over the wooden exterior. There's a quirk to her brow. She realizes it's cheap compressed wood. Something new then? ... Whiskers presses his ear to the side of the box. He hops back away when he hears a cough from the inside, hiding behind Delilah. What is it? She searches around the lid, unable to quite pull it up. She finally finds the hook on the other side, undoes it from the small peg that holds the lid shut. She practically throws the lid open, a bright smile on her face. Oh, 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 Whiskers, look! Oh, a new friend! Oh, he looks tired. ... Ah, is he dead? ... I'm not dead. Oh, good! Tea time! The clown in the box hangs limply when Delilah drags him out of the box by his shirt. She's surprised to find he's mostly fabric with little structure underneath. His sleeves are half empty, tied at the seams with a ruffle. All in all, his head is solid, but his body is plush. Hello, new friend! My name's Delilah, and this is my friend Whiskers. The rabbit's ears lie back, looking none too friendly. He keeps his distance. I'm sorry for all the excitement. It's just been so long since we've had a new toy. Well, not had, obviously. We don't have you. What are you exactly? Actually, excuse me. Oh, where on earth are my manners? What do you go by, friend? No, I don't go by friend. And I'm a puppet. My name is Huxley. Huxley? Huxley. Huxley! How nice. And a puppet? Why, that does explain it. Well, let me take you to a chair. I should be holding you the whole time like a little bear. Haha, rhymes. With Huxley comfortably situated in his chair at the table, Delilah sits opposite of him. She's all smiles even though the clown looks so sullen. Here, have some tea. Oh, can you hold the cup? Have a silly straw. Thanks. Despite the thanks, the clown doesn't make any move to drink the tea. Are you all right, Huxley? I don't expect you to be quite as excited as me, but you do look so upset. I'm not upset, but what's there to be excited for? You're taking me out of a box, and here I am to sit in another box. The only difference is that I'm not the only one in this box. Aha! But that makes all the difference, doesn't it? I do enjoy watching Whiskers, but he's not one for conversation. And now this won't be such a lonely place. What do you want to do? I'll show you that there's fun to have here. I don't want anything, thanks. Oh. Well, surely that isn't true. Everyone wants something. Do you want some quiet? We can lie on the floor and watch the star projector. If that's what you'd like to do. No, we're trying to find something you want to do. Do you want to tell jokes? You are a clown. If you'd like. Did you hear about the clown car that crashed out in the middle of nowhere? There were 30 casualties. I don't think I get that. Ah, I'll try again. What do you get when you boil a clown? A laughing stock. That one was kind of funny. Oh, that's funny. Clown soup. I bet we have polka dots too. Oh, let me try. A clown named Pagalalix goes to see a therapist. Oh, darn it, I messed it up. You're a funny lady, Delilah. Oh, you smiled. Oh, don't stop just because I pointed it out. I'll start getting the idea you're determined to sulk. Sorry. I just went, who? I just haven't told any jokes in a while. No audience unless I brought you out just for that. Unless I got brought out just for that. So I stopped. What's the point? The point of telling jokes? The point of coming up with jokes if only I get to tell them when someone gives me the time of day. I don't like being a puppet. The only choice I get is not to participate. So I started doing that, opting out. Oh, so you just don't do anything? Nothing I don't want to do. Which I don't want to do much lately, so... yeah, kind of. He looks uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. It's clear he hasn't had to explain himself at length before, especially so withdrawn from everything. Delilah, on the other hand, is clearly mulling this idea over in her head. Do you think you'd want to do more if you could get around better on your own? Since then you could just go wherever you like and not have to wait for someone to bring you there. That would make things easier for me. No offense, but I don't think I want you stitching anything on top of me if that's what you're thinking. Huh? Why? Are you just assuming I'd be bad at it? I choose to keep my answer to myself. Humph! Geez, this felt rude. That wasn't what I was thinking about anyways. Wait here for just a moment. I'll try not to go anywhere. How loud is the music on your guys' end? She stands near the box Huxley arrived in and looks up, her gaze aimless as though she's not quite sure where to look. Hello up there! I imagine you're still watching, yes? Thank you for sending me a new friend. I know I've asked for one a lot, but I'm afraid I need to ask for something else. I'm sorry for asking someone after receiving this gift, but it isn't for me, so I hope that might make up for it. ... So do you think perhaps you could give me something to help Huxley move? Perhaps wheels or a wooden skeleton? I mean, I don't have an option. Also, why are there spiders on it? You suppose there couldn't be any harm in it? If the puppet is really so broken that it can't even keep her company, it doesn't do much good, does it? It'll have to be a modification so simple that even the toys can figure it out, though. You have an idea. Surely with only a single item to work with, she'll understand what she needs to be done. You place your gift in the box Huxley had arrived in. Delilah looks on in surprise as she sees a large spring in the box. Oh! Yes, this is perfect! Thank you so much! She eagerly plucks her prize from the container, needing both hands to carry it. So as long as her legs at the very least. Seeing it's a bit unwieldy perhaps, it isn't the best idea to bring it near the tea set. She ends up leaving it behind and fetching Huxley instead. It takes the pair a few minutes to figure out the logistics of the attachment, but in the end, it's sewn securely onto the opening of Huxley's body. It takes a moment to get used to balancing on the spring. Ah, this is certainly different. I think I'm getting the hang of it, though. The stairs will take some practice. That's what the railing's for, at least until you get better at jumping. Perhaps soon you'll be able to leap from the landing to the upper doorway in one go. She laughs at the idea, but she seems to be very seriously considering it. Perhaps so. Everything else is upstairs, right? What about the back room? More stairs, unfortunately. That's the doorway to the attic. And what's up there? More stairs? The ceiling, silly! And some old odds and ends, some things that just don't really have a place in the house. But they still have to go somewhere. Perhaps we could eventually convert it into a bedroom for you. Your cruelty knows no bounds. Oh, excuse me. Your cruelty knows no bounds, Lady Delilah. Making a man able to jump and putting him in a room with a low ceiling. Ah, I didn't mean... I know, I'm only teasing you. For someone who kept wanting me to lighten up, you sure are good at recognizing a joke. Oh, don't tease me. But I am happy to see you're much better spirits. I am. I've never had something like this. Though, is this really okay? There's a lot of reading in this. What do you mean? Nothing. I didn't like being a puppet, so I don't know why I should feel odd about becoming something else. Like a Jack-in-the-Box? I would never. I mean to say, I'm not getting back in that box. Of course not, but you will have to sleep somewhere. I suppose the box can stay here in the foyer. We could make it into a table, or use it as a chest. I just don't want to have to carry it up the attic. Haha. Whatever you want to do with it, it's not mine. I mean, I guess so. But yeah, I guess that makes me a Jack out of the box. Which I'd also never do. Clara tilts her head in confusion once more. Huxley spares her an explanation of the joke. I'm actually feeling a little fidgety now. I think I want to give the stairs a try. Will you show me the rest of the house if I make it up? Of course. Still. If you can't, I'll carry you up. I'll make it up even if I have to drag myself. Just, maybe go stand out of the way. Just in case. With some time and effort, and a couple of paintings knocked off the wall, Huxley manages to make his way up the stairs. Delilah feels perhaps a few new cracks were added to her face from the worry which she watched when he twice spilled backwards down the stairs. Luckily, the clown was not so delicate as she was. He bounced like rubber. Perhaps that's what he was made of. The thought remains in her mind that she'll have to remind her new friend that she is much more fragile than he is. But for now, she hurries up after him to congratulate him and show him around the upper floor. The linen closet isn't exactly a room, but it's important still regardless. The bathroom is of slightly more importance, of course, though perhaps less important than it would have been in a real house. Huxley notes a lingering smell of paint and powders in the bathroom. It must be where Delilah touches up her face. Definitely. And lastly, Delilah brings him to her bedroom. But I don't think I've ever had anyone in here before. Well, aside from Whiskers. You don't think so? Where's that little guy anyways? Kind of expected him to join us for the tour. Oh, don't mind him. He's so jumpy these days. I couldn't even tell you why. Perhaps he's less confident without other plush animals around. There used to be more? ... Ah, I can't seem to recall. I know I knew a teddy bear once. Perhaps he was a friend of Whiskers. She frowns, brows furrowed in concentration. Huxley watches on with concern. Is remembering things a regular problem for you, Delilah? In a sense, I suppose it is. Very little changes in the house, so the days tend to blend together. If I have trouble remembering something, I'd be hard-pressed to know whether it's due to forgetfulness or because it happened longer ago than I realize. I've recently started writing in my journal again, though, so that should help with more recent days. I went to short rush for a while, so I'll have to really make good use of it now that I have it again. Yeah, sounds like a plan. By the way, I didn't realize how much reading was going to be in this game, so this stream's not going to be as long. Probably about an hour, 10, 15. Sorry, I got a weird message. Ew, no thank you, sir. And if I'm curious, I could always read up on what I missed before I got here. Absolutely not. I keep it locked so you could even if you wanted to. Here, just another joke, Delilah. I won't read your diary. You'd better not. Ah! Something made my arm itch. Now, what was I going to show you in here? Oh, I want to show you here, in my wardrobe. I keep my dresses here, but it's full of many games as well. And feel free to help yourself to any of them if you find yourself looking for something to play. I have my bookcase in here as well. I have all the classics. Pride and Prejudice, A Little Princess, Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales collection. Quite the collection, Delilah. Are you teasing me again? No, they're just very you. Huh? Except that one. The Complete Short Stories of Edgar Allan Poe. A little bit of a gothic at heart, are you? I did say I love the classics. There's 141 of you watching, but not a single one of you has said a single word. Oh well. Mr. Know-It-All, you're making yourself sound rather well-read. I've just heard my share of bedtime stories in my day. And the others I've heard a little bit of homework in form. Ugh. I have to say, it hasn't made the most bookish kind of guy. Except maybe joke books. Huh, well, in your words, that's very you. There's no shame in it, but I warn you that you might eventually want to do some reading. Beggars can't be choosers for entertainment at this house, I'm afraid. But I'd be happy to read to you. Uh-huh. I can see it now. I'll let you know if I have trouble falling asleep here. Then maybe I could use it. Humph. It's refreshing to see Delilah look so lively again after so much time spent by herself in the dollhouse. She's had her problems in the past getting along with other toys, but the clown seems to be a good choice. Entertaining as a gesture should be, but not so energetic that he would impose upon her lifestyle. She considers herself to be an elegant lady after all, and some wild fool would certainly find himself met with friction when it came to living with her. Hopefully, they'll continue to get along. In the following days, they seem to adjust well enough. They play their games and have their tea together. Even Whisker seems to be more at ease with Huxley there. It's a point of concern in some ways. Hopefully the rabbit doesn't come to be too affectionate with the clown. Ooh. Ooh. But for now, it's just happy days within the dollhouse. You find yourself watching them regularly. Today, they've gathered in the attic to improve Huxley's sleeping area. I'm sorry we don't have a better place to keep a lot of these things, though I'm happy the bed is finally seeing some use. It's not too bad. The spiders have been keeping me company at night. Spiders?! Well, probably just little mites. I have wondered about some of the things you keep up here, though. Don't just change the subject after mentioning spiders. Are there really spiders up here? Ha! No, I was only joking, Delilah. Ah, you better be. Horrible creatures. Now, what were you wondering about? Well, I noticed some of these things seem out of place here. The painting's sure they make sense for you to have, but there are some old brass knickknacks in here that don't look like any of your other stuff. Like this big brass horse head. It's a knight! But you were right, it doesn't look familiar. And there's some old clothing up here too. Oh? I haven't cleaned up here in some time, but I didn't think there was anything but spare decor items. What sort of clothing is it? Well, I found some bow ties, like the formal kind, not like my ribbon. And no offense to our dearest Lady Delilah, but they wouldn't really suit you. Do they belong to Whiskers? No, Whiskers doesn't really have many belongings to speak of. Whiskers shakes his head to confirm this. He only has the little bed in my room and a few little toys of his own. Though, half the time he seems to prefer playing with balled-up paper more than the things I make for him. One doll's trash is another rabbit's treasure. I'm almost certain that's not how that phrase goes. Well, in any case, they seem like men's clothes to me. Though I did see some old hairbrushes and things as well. Not ones that matched your sets, though. You think some of this was left from whoever lived in the house before you? Ah, I suppose that's possible, though it seems stranger to me that the owner wouldn't remove such things before placing me here. Maybe the owner hoped for a more masculine doll? I'm sure I'm exactly what they were hoping for. They've had me this long after all. Well, the owner doesn't seem to be interested in doing much to your home regardless, so maybe they didn't bother with this. Or they're using your storage for their extra things. Oh, I hadn't considered that. And they get quiet at times, but that doesn't mean they lack any interest. They love me, and I love them too. You two should get a room then. Delilah's gonna murder me. Somebody's gonna murder me. I just know it. I'm already feeling it. I feel like it's gonna be Whiskers is gonna be the murderer. Or I guess a house. Oh, hush. There's no need to be jealous, Huxley. I'm sure that they love you too. You wouldn't be living here if they didn't find something appealing about you. It must have been my sparkling personality then. Perhaps it was. Right. Well, I don't have any doubts that they're just tossing me in here for your sake if they really love you so much. How do you mean? Well, you've told me a few times just how lonely it is here without someone to have conversations with. And here I am! Well, I'm happy you're here, but I doubt it's just for me. It's all the same to me. As long as they leave me be, I'm just fine. Oh, that's just silly, Huxley. I know you'd enjoy their attention if you got it. Doubt it. Such a sourpuss. I suppose we'll find out the next time they do decide to check out on us, regardless. I'll be holding my breath until then. The conversation comes to a stop as the pair go back to cleaning. It leaves you with some thinking to do. It has been a little time since you initially purchased the clown, so you've had a little time to get to know more about him. More so than you could have known taking him off the shelf. At this point... So far, I don't know. I like Whiskers. Whiskers is my favorite. He's quiet, doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything. Perfect. I don't know, Delilah seems like really fun though. I don't know, Delilah remains my favorite so far. You still feel Huxley's better suited as something of a distraction for Delilah. Flawed little thing that she is, you wouldn't have kept her this long if you didn't have some attachment to her. Exactly. Especially with how poorly she gets along with other toys. Oh. She's quite lucky that even though she's so much trouble, you have quite the sentimental view of her. Oh, has she murdered all the other toys? Hopefully the clown learns his place with time and stops bringing down the mood for her. Delilah's gonna murder some guy. Or murder Huxley, actually, probably. If not, you could always make some adjustments. Oh. Am I the murderer? Guys, I think I might be the murderer. But nothing can last forever. It's clear enough the honeymoon phase is coming to an end by the argument you find already in progress when you check on the house today. Huxley, you've picked out our game 3 times in a row. We're going to play what I want to today. You literally offered to let me choose. You can't say you don't care what we play, and then take it back because you don't like what I picked. I didn't know you were going to pick the worst one when I said that. The worst one? You seemed fine with it the other day. But fine, let's play this one instead. You like Parlor Detective, don't you? Are you serious? I'm just more in the mood for a word game. So you had a specific game in mind? I didn't realize which one I wanted until now. I said as though I planned to argue with you. Could have fooled me. You're so sour, Huxley. I'll get the game set up while you're over there sulking. You'll feel better once we start playing. Hey, Whiskers, what do you make of this? The rabbit looks up from his place on the little pet bed on the floor. He seems uneasy of being addressed in the middle of their tiff. Whiskers doesn't even talk, Huxley. I know you're playing some joke. Whiskers, do you think Delilah already started the game without me? I'm still setting it up. Because I'm starting to think we're playing charades, or ESP tester. Or maybe just mind games. I don't think expecting you to take me at my word requires you to be psychic. Oh, her eyes have changed again. She's going... The only funny thing about this is how silly you're acting over some board games. Yeah, well, maybe I'm in the mood for your kind of game. So you're pitching a fit over not getting your way? Ha! That's rich. No, if you just said what you wanted from the beginning, I wouldn't care. Honestly, if you wanted to watch paint dry and you were serious about it, that'd be fine with me. But I'd rather drink paint than get jerked around. Then enjoy the taste of your new colors. I'm not in the mood to play anymore. Delilah shoves the little letter tabs and the game board back into the box that she's been removing them from. Even Huxley looks a bit surprised at this reaction, but primarily he looks irritated. It's odd to see him so worked up. Though he has been more lively since Delilah helped him get back on his feet, it's rare to feel him see so strong. It's rare to see him feel so strongly about anything. The general state of ennui he carries himself with leaves little room for such emotional outbursts. Not beyond a sarcastic remark, anyways. So, seeing him like this is a little worrisome. Once the game is put away, Delilah moves to push him along towards the door, meeting resistance when she does. What are you doing? We're not going to be playing anything now, so I want some time to myself. Get out of my room. How mature of you, Miss Delilah. Really benefiting a lady of your caliber. Out! That face. Out! Ah! The clown finally exits the room and she slams the door behind him. With him gone, she sighs and presses her back into the door. It takes her a few moments, but she gathers herself and straightens out her dress, and then her hair. When she looks around, she sees Whiskers is no longer in the room either. She sits down on her bed and takes up her diary and pen from her dresser. I swear, I can't count on anyone to just be silly. She begins to write. You decide to leave her to her personal writing. The next morning, you decide to check on the dollhouse to make sure things have cooled off from the day before. Delilah is waiting in the kitchen, presumably for the other toys. She seems to be lost in thought. The distant look leaves her face when Huxley enters the room. You tell by his expression he's aware of what she might say to him. Presumably, they haven't spoken since their fight. It's probably good that you're here to watch them, just in case. Good morning, Delilah. His tone is flat. Cautious, perhaps. Good morning, Huxley. Delilah's greeting is chippier, her tone sing-song as though she didn't even recall the fight before. Cloud is caught off guard by a moment, but then regains his composure. I was just ready to make breakfast. I assume Whiskers won't be joining us? But that's alright. I'll leave out some leftovers for him. What will we be having today? You're leaving it to me to choose? Oh, sorry. I wasn't asking you. She must mean you, then. Let's have some crepes. You reach into the kitchen with them and carefully pinch the little cookbook up in the cupboard between the tips of your fingers. Huxley's eyes look wide and you can see him tense his jaw as soon as your hand enters the dollhouse. His whole body is wound up tight as though in preparation to flee the room. Delilah, on the other hand, smiles as her dark eyes watch you take the book from the room. You grab one of your tools to help with moving the pages, a thin pair of tweezers you usually use for toy repairs. You just tear the pages, try to handle them yourself. You carefully select the recipe and hold the book in the tweezers to keep it open as you return it to the room. Delilah reaches up to accept the book out of the tool's grip. The puppet shows a sliver of teeth between his lips, but doesn't speak. Take your hand back out as soon as the item is passed off. You aren't sure what he's thinking, but you can tell he's very upset by your intrusion upon the toy's space. Yes, because he's a puppet. Got it. He doesn't like hands being shoved in him and... Oh, it's been a long time since I've made crepes. I have some wonderfully juicy strawberries in the fridge as well. They'll be perfect for this. Huxley, do you prefer yours with chocolate sauce or just with cream? I'll have it however you're having yours. How can you tell when they're here anyways? You ask so readily. Oh, I ask every day. Usually sleep in though, Mr. Lazybones. Lazy, no bones. Oh, excuse me, lazy, no bones? Yeah. Well, I was having trouble sleeping, so I'm up early. Oh? Let's have some chamomile tea before bed tonight then. I'm sure you'll sleep well then. Yeah. We'll worry about that tonight though. For now, I have crepes to make. You're going to love them. I promise. But since they're rather troublesome to make, I'd like you to help as well. Yay, team building exercise! Maybe they won't murder each other.
Of course. I can't cook, though.
I'll be doing all the cooking. I just want you to slice the strawberries for me. And do be careful with the knife. You watch as Delilah starts to prepare her whipped cream and crepe batter. She periodically stops to correct Huxley on his cutting technique. Each time he seems a little more discouraged, but he doesn't remark on it. That's probably for the best. You watch until Delilah starts putting together the crepes, lovingly rolled into little cone shapes and filled with cream and fruit. At some point, she recuts some of Huxley's strawberry slices into hearts to top them with. Things seem peaceful again as you leave them into their culinary work. Hopefully, mourning together helps them put that argument the night before behind them. Your hopes that the toys would need much more supervision to keep getting along turn out to be a little too optimistic. You find yourself regularly checking in on them when you hear arguments breaking out in the dollhouse. Despite Huxley's originally harsh demeanor towards Delilah when she would snap at him, you find he's becoming more and more upset by these developments. You never really took him for the emotional type. You're not sure what to make of it, but Delilah is convinced that he has only crocodile tears for her. Even if so, you find yourself worried at the state of the dollhouse if they continue to bicker this way. You only brought Huxley as a way to keep her entertained and provide her with some company that would actually talk to her. You're starting to wonder if that was the right decision. The mood in the house has become unhospitable. You sometimes find yourself considering separating the two by adding an extra wall to divide the dollhouse. But that would hardly be a practical solution. Like every other day, you find yourself checking on the dollhouse when it becomes too quiet. You need to see what the two inside are up to. Murder! You see Delilah is currently having some tea in the kitchen by herself. She seems fairly content, but you did hear another fight earlier. Check the attic for Huxley next, expecting to find him moping by himself after another rough day. But he's not up there. What's he doing in here? You watch in silence. Whiskers rests on the pet bed in the room and his head turns to look at the cloud as he crosses the room. Huxley brings an arm up to his own face and mimes a shushing noise. A little difficult without fingers, but the rabbit seems to understand. He lays his head back down and Huxley continues across the room. He lingers at the bookshelf, bending down to examine the spine of each entry there. He checks the board games as well. Not finding what he's looking for, he heads to the dresser next. His eyes wander over the basket of flowers and the clutter of small desk items Delilah keeps up there. A little notepad with a list of chores and repairs to be made sits on top. He leafs through this, but drops it back in place once he sees how mundane its contents are. His lips tighten in discomfort. He slowly opens the first drawer of the dresser. He shuts it much more quickly than he opened it. At least you can be sure he wasn't looking for the contents of that one. Ooh. He opens the next one, and this time reaches inside. Delilah's diary. Oh. Uh-oh. Closes the drawer and leaves the room, heading right back up to the attic with his findings. Uh-oh. I wouldn't read that. It's all about how she murdered people. Whisker gives a worried frown from his position on the pet bed. This is a bad idea. Yeah. It's a girl's diary. Plus, I think she's a murderer. The lock on the diary is a minor obstacle. He simply uses a small knife from the kitchen to cut it as close to where it attaches to the book as possible. It can just be glued back into place. Huxley opens the book and sets it on one of the dusty boxes so that he can more easily read it and turn the pages. He touched it carefully, aware of how suspicious it would be for any of the diary's pages to be ripped. Though, he notices right away some of the older ones are missing. You originally had taken those out for Delilah, but now you're glad you did for an entirely different reason. You never thought about the other toys snooping. 1:19. Okay. XXX 19 blah blah blah. Dear Diary, I can't seem to find my old journal, so we'll be starting fresh. But it's a lovely day for such fresh starts. Rose finished another painting today for the foyer. The results are beautiful. She's such talent with paint. I wish I could make anything half as lovely. I could at least say I provide something in return, because I'm working on a new dress for her. I do hope she likes it. Dear Diary, I've asked for some flowers to put up some arrangements around the house. Since Rose paints so many flowers, I'm sure she would like for some for her still lifes as well. I'm not sure why I'm bothering how difficult she's been lately. It seems like she just agrees with me just for the sake of it, even on the littlest things. I'm not going to say anything to her about it, but I wish that she would stop regardless. Day 3. Dear Diary, honestly, I think she's jealous of me. It's the only thing I can think of. Rose used to be so sweet, but now it's like walking on glass to be around her. Or is it eggshells? Either way, she needs to stop picking fights with me. Our owner is only excited by her because she's something new enough to still be a novelty. If she thinks that means she's better than me, her wooden head is as empty as it sounds when the wind blows through the house. Whoo! A crude drawing of a doll's head with wind blowing in one ear and out the other adorns the next page. Wow. A couple after that are removed. Dear Diary, I'm terribly lonely here. I think the owner sent Rose away due to my complaints. I haven't seen her in days, and they won't answer me as to her whereabouts. Or has it been weeks? I'm not sure anymore. I heard something. Uh-oh. Because I'm having difficulty remembering exactly when we last spoke, even picturing her face. I wish she'd left behind some self-portraits. I miss her dearly. Huxley frowned and skipped ahead past many pages of mundane daily goings around the empty house. They range from cheerful recounting craft products to desperate letters to no one expounding her loneliness. Ooh, it's now 2000. Dear Diary, a new home with new faces. I was able to bring a few things with me, but it feels quite frightening all the same. Luckily, Lucille has been a very gracious host. She shares everything with me, with an eagerness, and that tells me she has been as lonely as I have in these past years, though I don't enjoy sleeping in the attic. It's rather eerie up here. I feel terribly out of place. Maybe if I wish hard enough, I'll return to the home I know. Huxley's eyes the old bed frame that now holds his own bed. He just assumed Delilah had always lived here, and it was her home. Oh. Dear Diary. Dear Diary, Lucille is not what I thought she was. She's so cruel when she wants to be. Today we sat on the roof together to see the stars. She pushed me. The owner doesn't believe me. They replaced the arm that was damaged, but my face can't quite be restored. My eye. It feels so broken beyond that I thought. Perhaps I'm just very unlucky. But nothing ever quite works out in my favor. Oh. If I can convince the owner of what Lucille did, perhaps he'll actually do something. But until then, I think I'll just be avoiding her. At least I say something that would further prevent any sort of peaceful resolution. Dear Diary, she deserved it. They wouldn't have done that if she didn't. Puppet stares at the page, chewing his lip and looking deep in thought. He leaves for the next quiet stage of Delilah's life until he finds another name. Jeez, it's been several years. Dear Diary, after so long, the owners gifted me new friends. Theodore and Whisker are a delightful little pair. I would never say so to them, but I'm a little disappointed the owner didn't think to bring me a doll like myself. Theodore is still a kindly gentleman, even if he is rather fuzzy. And Whiskers knows so many tricks. Such an agile little thing. I'm sure we're going to get along grandly. Section seems to be missing some of the most pages. There are areas where even Delilah writes about her frustration with her diary being tampered with, and how often she finds herself confused about past events the other toys discuss with her. Eventually, Huxley finds in the near pages that Theodore's name simply isn't mentioned again. Not even in a memoir fashion as when Delilah lamented the loss of her initial friend. Huxley finds the more recent entries as he seeks the point where he initially arrived. Jeez! So it went... I'm going to assume... Let's say it was roughly 1987, 1984. That's a long time for a doll to be a murderer. Dear Diary. Finally a friend! A new friend who might be as sad as me, but at least he speaks. At least it's not only me now. At least I can look at his face and recognize him. I started to think that perhaps the owner hated me. They placate me with gifts, but they never let me out anymore. And I know they have other toys. I can see them from the window, working on their projects. Only just barely. I don't always understand what I'm seeing, but I know that's what they're working with. Unknowable things, but knowable faces. If Huxley hadn't arrived, Bug flip tried to fly my mouth. I don't know what I would have done. I was at my wit's end. But finally, things are normal again. Dear Diary, Huxley's a curious fellow. I rather appreciate the humor he brings to the house, even if I wish Whiskers wouldn't look at him quite so uninterestedly. Whiskers ignores me when he can, but I'm happy to share my books and my time with Huxley. I don't know if he understands our situation quite the same way that I do, but he likely already knows that there won't be more toys added to this house after him. Unless one of us were to be replaced, of course, but I wouldn't let that happen. Wouldn't let either of us be replaced, or wouldn't let herself be replaced. The rest of this is just things about what we've done together, though she does kind of talk about me like she thinks I'm stupid or something. Huxley frowns and finally closes the diary. This was a waste of time. Now I have to fix the strap, too. I remember seeing some glue in Delilah's scrapbooking supplies. I'll just use that. Huxley leaves the attic to return the book to its real hiding place in the bedroom. Delilah was already there. Why are you acting like that, Whiskers? You funny little bunny. You never tried to play with my things before. Now give me my hairbrush back. Come on. Huh? Huxley tries haphazardly to hide the book behind his loose sleeves. Oh, hey Delilah. Hello, Huxley. Did you need something? No, it was really quiet up in the attic. Oh, isn't it always, though? She smiles, amused by what sounds to her like a very silly excuse to come find her. I was just brushing my hair, until Whiskers stole my brush. Silly little thing. Whiskers tensed as Delilah reaches for him. He squeaks as she picks him up by the scruff. Delilah, be careful, that looks really, uncomfortable for him. Oh, he's just being dramatic. He always is when I pick him up. He tugs on the brush in Whiskers' paws. Huxley finally catches on to why the rabbit is acting so strange. Tries to inch closer to the dresser while Delilah is occupied with Whiskers. The book slides right out of his grip and onto the floor when he tries to lean over towards the dresser. Ah! Huh? Delilah drops Whiskers. Her eyes trailing right down to where her diary lies on the floor. She looks stunned. But only for a moment. What are you doing? Delilah, That's my private writing. What's wrong with you? Coming into my room and stealing things? You horrible creature. I had a reason, okay? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. What reason could you possibly have for rifling through my drawers and violating my privacy? I share everything with you, Huxley. I should at least have my own thoughts to myself. I wanted to know what was going on in your head. You've been getting really mean with me lately. So I thought I'd just see what I was doing wrong, if it was me or you, or if I was doing something that was upsetting you. I should have just talked to you about it. You're accusing me of being mean when you've stolen from me? And just how I've mistreated you, Huxley. This is my home, and I'm sharing it with you. I make you food, and I play games with you. I even fixed you. I wasn't broken, you know. And that's part of it. You do things for me, but then you act like I owe you. Like you're counting how many favors you've given me to turn in later. Plus, you get so angry about everything if it doesn't go your way. I don't want to feel like I have to watch every little thing I say or you'll get upset. You have an awful attitude, Huxley. What am I supposed to say? Being upset by your rude behavior isn't unreasonable? Disagreeing with you isn't rude. So is stealing not rude either? Ha! I already apologized. And if the things I do for you make you feel so awful, then I don't think I should do anything for you anymore. You ingrate! You're being ridiculous about this. Coming from a clown! Maybe you're right. Maybe you weren't broken before like I thought. Maybe you're just made wrong in the first place. Delilah cups her hand around her mouth and looks up at the ceiling. You can take your spring back. We don't want it anymore. Delilah! Get rid of it! Get it out of my house! Stop it! Huxley shoves Delilah backwards, causing her to stumble. She trips over Whiskers, who scurries to try to get up her way. There's a quiet crack when she hits the ground. Huxley stares at her with her eyes wide. I didn't mean. You decide you've seen enough of this. Wait! You scoop the clown out of the dollhouse as Delilah picks herself back up. You see her limp as she steps forward, likely some minor leg damage. You'll have to fix that. As for Huxley, clearly giving him equal footing with Delilah in the house was a mistake. You carefully tear out the section of fabric to keep the spring in place in the puppet's body. Once it's done, you set the metal piece aside. It's what she asked for, after all. And in this... Not the choice I would have made, bud. Not the choice I would have
me.
I would have chosen, instead, to take them both up and make them talk it out. Not just destroying Huxley. That's just rude. Gently placed Huxley back in the dollhouse. His breathing is heavy and his body trembles as he lies on the floor, unwilling to get back up just yet. That's so mean! He's so sensitive about any sort of contact with you. Pitiful, really. Delilah brushes off her dress and frowns down at him on the ground. He looks back at her with glossy eyes. Delilah. Huxley's expression betrays the level of hurt he's feeling, even beyond the physical change. It's clearly an incredibly deep betrayal in his eyes. What? We got by without it before. But since you think my input doesn't matter anymore, there's no reason to keep using the thing I decide to give you, right? You'll figure something out all by yourself. Unless you decide to take back what you said. And plead with me for forgiveness. Huxley's expression darkens, and he goes quiet. The silence hangs thickly in the air, stifling the mood in the room. Whiskers looks uneasy, despite the look of not being directed to him. He's quick to leave the room. Delilah. Well? Delilah, if you really think you're right about this, your face isn't the only thing that's correct. The doll's eyes widen and she shoots the clown with an incredulous, infuriated look. Is that so? I guess I'll be taking the attic back as well. You came with the room anyway, didn't you? You can sleep in that box. How about you give me your bed instead? You'll have to sleep in mine if you want to keep me out of it. You're so ridiculous. I thought you were friends, but your jealousy clearly is too much for you to overcome. It's such a pity. Why couldn't you just play nicely, Huxley? I was playing nice. That was my mistake. Just watch yourself if you think of getting mean with me, Harley Quinn. You know our other friend would be quick to punish you if you raised a hand to me. Huxley's eyes search the room, passing over the ceiling, the windows. He knows you're watching. He knows you're watching, which he should. You don't want him getting any ideas concerning you already had to confiscate the spring. And just like that, he seems to lose all energy. You're right. It's pointless. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just go crawl back in your box? Huxley says nothing as he leaves the room, having to pull himself along the floor. It's so mean. When he reaches the stairs, Whiskers helps him along once he's sure Delilah can't see. Delilah, on the other hand, was looking pleased with herself, despite the edge of sourness still affecting her mood. Honestly, could you believe the nerve of him? I do so much for him. He decides to treat me like this in my own home. Clearly, he forgets whose house this is. I shouldn't have expected much sense from a clown anyways. Thank you for looking out for me. I knew you would. We've been through so much together. I love you, my dear. When we check on Huxley, he really has returned to his box, curled up inside much like when you first put him in the house. No. Well, I think that's about time to wrap it up. There'll be more of this a bit later. Tomorrow's going to be a Resident Evil 7 stream, so hopefully you guys are there for that. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check on the description down below. Take a place like Twitch, Twitter, Discord, the merch shop, and as always, I'll see you guys the next time. Brian's signing off. Bye bye.